What's going on YouTube? Alright, so I've been checking out this channel called Cinema Wins, which is like the opposite of Cinema Sins basically, if you didn't guess, and they do everything great about movies rather than everything wrong with movies, like the other negative Nancy one, which I do like Cinema Sins as well, though they nitpick quite a bit, and I get that the nitpicking is a joke, it's like part of the fun, like, but then I'd actually be really interested to see a Cinema Sins that was a bit more serious, that actually looked at actual sins from movies. There are some serious sins in Cinema Sins, but some of them are just obvious fun nitpicks and that, but you know, it's hard to pick which one he's actually pissed off at and which one he's just going overboard. So, everything great kind of does a little bit similar. Some wins are silly and don't really matter, because I watched the Batman v Superman cinema win, and everything great about Batman v Superman basically, and that was pretty interesting. He had some really interesting points to make, but also he gave wins for stupid shit like, I don't know, because someone did a weird head turn or something, I don't know, I can't remember, but I know he gave wins for silly stuff. But Age of Ultron is probably one of the most polarizing Marvel films, because you know, there's people that love it, there's a lot of people that don't like it, people think it's actually bad. You know, people put it right, it's not even in their top 5 Marvel films. It's in my top 5. I love Age of Ultron, I've seen it so many times. I think it did the job right. The only thing that was a bit weak was Ultron himself. I know what they were trying to do with Ultron, but he should have been a lot scarier. Like, if you watch the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon, Ultron is flipping scary in that cartoon. Like, he really puts the Avengers, like, on their knees. Like, Tony can't even use his suits anymore. He has to downgrade all the way to his first suit that he made when he was in the cave, because that hasn't got no like high-tech, like, you know, Wi-Fi circuitry shit in there. So Ultron was controlling all that shit, and so the cartoon one was scary. Like, Ultron killed Thor. He sent Thor to Valhalla, or whatever Thor's heaven is. He sent Thor there. Like, he basically killed, well, Thor teleported, but it looked like, they made it look like he killed him. And, you know, I don't know, the Ultron was scary in that cartoon, so. But anyway, this isn't about me talking about it. Let's watch what Cinema Wins thinks about it. Let's see what he thinks is great, see if I agree with him. I'll probably talk a lot over this one because it's a long video, but anyway.
I am not going to pretend like the full tilt action in this movie isn't one of the best things it has going for it. And starting off with the Avengers already together mid-mission, kicking butt is a solid win. This entire opening set piece is quality action fun that is pretty easy to follow even if this is your first MCU film.
Yep. I was literally screaming in the cinema. I was like,
I should hire Captain America to write for Cinema Wins. And a lot like the first film, every Avenger gets to avenge in their own effective way.
Sir, the city is taking fire.
Well, we know Strucker's not going to worry about civilian casualties.
So much of this film is a response to fan outrage over civilian collateral damage in the Avengers, as well as making sure the MCU doesn't get Man of Steel levels of hate for killing innocents. I mean, Stark has a whole squadron of autonomous suits to protect people. In continuity, it's also something they've learned from New York City and the time in between then and now.
They have to be after the scepter.
Tying into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a welcome reward to those of us watching that show, while at the same time doesn't alienate anyone not caught up. But seriously, catch up. It's a great show.
They tied this into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I thought there was no references to the TV show.
To surrender.
We even get some comedy gold from our villains. We'll miss you, Whedon.
You didn't see that coming?
Quicksilver's intro into this universe had some big shoes to fill. Everyone will have their preference, but I can safely say the MCU did not fill Magneto's son. Wait. Hulk.
Are they lining up? Well, they're excited.
Who cares if they can't decide whether the shield absorbs or deflects? That's more teamwork and an amazing shot.
Yay.
Job satisfaction.
Yay! I always love that.
Can't say if it was deliberate, but the last bit of Hulk green to leave Banner's body is through his jugular. Nice touch.
We'll have to be faster than
Tony's vision may be the most compelling out of all of Scarlet Witch's mind games, especially given that it's right before the title card. As Tony even says later, it seems like more than just a nightmare and maybe something that actually happens in Infinity War.
It better, because that's what happened in the comics.
Reason Tony moves forward with Ultron's creation. Based on Scarlet Witch's reaction, I'd say she wasn't expecting to see that either. And the follow-up title card is so completely different from the first. The score sets the tone of the impending doom that is Ultron, while his portion of the title card actually overtakes the Avengers. Yeah. And ooh, is it good.
It felt really
Signaling
like
at the end
old
of the
school.
prologue, the second Tony grabs the scepter, Ultron is inevitable. Therefore, Age of Ultron.
That was so good, I loved that bit.
But not the screams of the dead, of course. No, tales of sprained deltoids and
Sugarcoating.
He's fast and she's weird.
Dumbing it down for the old guy.
Pretending to need this guy really brings the team together.
Haha, Black Widow laughs in your Hawkeye-hating faces. Keeping continuity in this universe has to be a huge undertaking, and the MCU constantly impresses me. At the end of Iron Man 3, I guess I need to say spoilers if you're the one person on the planet who has seen Age of Ultron but not Iron Man 3, Tony initiates his clean slate protocol and starts down a new path. That path is to stop responding to threats out of fear and to create a world where the Avengers are no longer needed.
That is exactly the plan.
That's his main goal in this film. Ultron is his, albeit flawed, solution.
Peace in our time.
A failing to create Ultron montage is the fastest way to doom the world.
What is
I'm
this?
going crazy.
What is this, please?
Politeness.
I don't get it. The mission.
What is this, please? Oh, when I first heard Ultron speak,
James
that got
Spader,
me.
man. Could there have been a better cast? He was born to be an AI villain, and he blinks into existence in a very human way, ironically. Questioning his purpose and then quickly interpreting history and coming to his own conclusions.
I'm like, boom, you looking for this?
I mean, what did Rudy expect? It's like telling a neurosurgeon how you once applied a Band-Aid really, really adequately.
Boom, you looking for this?
Knowing your audience.
Oh, shit.
Ha! Stan Lee got so drunk he forgot he wasn't playing Stan Lee.
You both deserve a win.
Couldn't agree more, Cap.
Alright, so if I lift it, I then rule Asgard?
Yes, of course.
Oh, that look on Thor's face. This whole everyone try to lift the hammer scene is such a perfect way of making these characters real. Just hanging out at a party trying to see who's worthy. And for the record, my
And it's
theory is
good
that
for
Cap could
Vision
actually
later
lift
on.
the hammer and will eventually, but
To
once he
show-
realized he could, he decided not to for
It's
Thor's
for
sake.
Vision later on as well, this scene.
You're all not worthy.
Also, vision shadowing.
Yeah, you go.
Tony Stark, Iron Man suitless, still joining in the fight is a win. More teamwork.
That was dramatic. There's only one path to peace. The Avengers' extinction.
Ultron brings up a thought process that comes up in the future. Would the world be safer without superheroes? Does their very existence invite challengers? Ultron may have been onto something.
And he makes Vision, who has that same idea.
Timing
in Civil
advice.
War. Really
How are you
clever.
guys planning on beating that together? We'll lose. And we'll do that together too.
I love you, Cap.
That was such a Cap thing to
the
say.
Avengers.
I've come to save the world. But also, yeah,
Robert California level honesty.
Everyone's plan is not to kill them.
That little throwaway line from Quicksilver does a lot to explain why the twins never actually try to kill the Avengers. Neither Strucker or Ultron want to...
the martyrs.
In order to make them go extinct, he needs Scarlet Witch to...
Tear them apart from the inside.
One of the biggest complaints this film gets is that it advertises upcoming MCU films instead of telling its own story. I get it. But if you don't know who Claw is, does this make you throw your hands up in the air and yell at the screen? What does it matter? He's an arms dealer that stole some important stuff from...
Wakanda, Wakanda.
Comic fans hear Black Panther, everyone else may at least hear Vibranium. Or just bad guy. He looks like a bad guy.
Mm.
next missile
Don't know why people complain about shit like that.
faster.
I guess it shouldn't have been much of a surprise, but for myself, having never seen much more than Andy Serkis, than Gollum, Caesar, and Snoke, all mocap work, I was really impressed that he's actually an actor.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Most glorious scene in the MCU.
I'm sure that's gonna be okay.
Apologizing. Also Star Wars reference. Also Sonic emitter shadowing.
I know you've suffered.
Pretending you could live without a war.
It's so appropriate that Cap discussed Ultron, since Cap is really his antithesis.
What's the vibranium for?
I'm glad you asked that because I wanted to take this time to explain my evil plan.
Ultron punishes Tony for trying to trick him into monologuing. First look at Ultron's strength and abilities, and he is powerful. You are not worthy. Another fun reflection on what's been said by Ultron. Even at a party, Cap can only see war. Reusing the Hulk gets mind control
We'll fool with it like
manipulated
that.
into breaking stuff is a little annoying. And technically it's the same exact thing messing with him since Scarlet Witch's powers came from the Mind Gem. But we get Hulkbuster armor for not rolling our eyes too hard.
Yeah, we need
Snorri
Hulkbuster.
Cam
You
on the
can't.
Hulk? That's some cinematic sorcery.
We need Hulkbuster at some point in the
Fun
MCU.
fact,
This was
Veronica
good.
is so named since in the Archie comics she's the opposite of Betty, who was once Banner's love interest.
Yeah.
I told you fist bumps were dangerous.
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
Not even one part of this fight is a letdown. Even the comedy breaks.
I'm sorry.
And collapsing a building on top of the Hulk is pretty spectacular.
That fight was sick. What do you want to
Friendship.
say?
Such an important moment. Ultron has
The only thing I
basically
didn't like
succeeded
is
in
that
tearing the
Hulkbuster
Avengers
sort
apart
of
through
wins.
Wanda, and each member really lets us feel it.
Honey? Home?
Hawkeye, yeah, he finally gets a life and a family. Although it's a sad realization that this is probably the biggest standalone Hawkeye film we'll ever get, it's a welcome and humanizing effort for the Avengers.
These are smaller agents.
Something Cap realizes he may never get. At the very least with the person he wants it with.
I don't think they need me.
I think they do. Which is a lot scarier.
So true. He gets shoved under the rug too often. He's a man with his feet in two separate worlds, more so than the rest, and it's great he finally gets some recognition.
No. Last part.
Man, did they set him up to die. Had me going.
Not a match for him, Captain.
Thanks, partner.
Maybe true, but apparently Cap can hold his own. Black Widow makes dropping out of a Quinjet on a motorcycle into dense traffic cooler. Somehow. Man, I just love teamwork. To recap, Cap just bounced off this car, landed on his shield, started running in stride, then surfed this car until he could jump back onto the truck.
Holy shit.
That's not a win.
That's sick. I didn't even realize he did that because they cut away from it.
Face propulsion.
Please, don't do this.
Oh, that response. More like a parent or a loved one who feels betrayed. Such
Yeah.
depth to Ultron, very much thanks to Spader.
I like that kind of that side of Ultron, but
Quick
I think
silver
he
style,
still
safe and
needed to be
innocent.
more vicious
DJ
as
Bruce
well.
Lee is always a win. Seriously, someone give me that shirt.
Tony,
You know how
Tony
impressed
Stark
they
with his
get by
crazy
reflections in
shirts.
animated films. But here's one in a live-action film. Jarvis is CGI, so they definitely had to add that reflection into Banner's glasses. Attention to detail. Alright, so it seems a tad insane to use Jarvis to create another AI, but, in their defense, Jarvis has been blocking, fighting, and beating Ultron the whole time without even knowing he was doing it.
Jarvis has been beating him from inside without knowing it.
It's clearly in his DNA to do the right thing, and like Vision says,
I am on the side of life.
I hoped you would. I wanted to show you. I don't have anyone else.
Ultron's split personality between his human moments and then complete homicidal insanity makes him an unpredictable villain.
What? You didn't see that coming?
Call back. Did Scarlet Witch just John McClane a spell through herself at Banner? Now let's go back to the scene that so many take issue with. Another future MCU setup scene that I have to ask, who is it hurting? You're not excited for the next Thor movie? I am. But really, they've been setting
They
this
should
up
have
since
used the
his Scarlet
full
Witch
version
vision
of
in
that
which he
scene.
sees Vision.
If you've
Thor
seen the
goes to the
director's
water of
cut.
sight because he wants to see the rest of that dream. Seeing the Infinity Stones bursting out of their cases, starting to understand their power, and everything he learns from the water directly leads to him unilaterally deciding to bring Vision to life. So, no Ragnarok tease, no Vision. Oh, so cool. For the record, all joking aside, is this not magic? Does it matter? Say it's telekinesis. Say Vision can control his density and float. Again, semantics. An oversimplification of Thor's explanation, but everything is magic to someone. Red Skull claims the cube was science, but he had no idea there was an Infinity Stone inside. He just knew it was an energy source. So for all intents and purposes, magic. I still like the idea that even though everything is magic to someone, like Thor says later, there's someone who can explain everything. I think I'll take one of those too.
Not what you are. And not what you intend.
I loved Jarvis. I will miss Jarvis. But, number one, Paul Bettany's voice when he's Vision is so silky rich
Perfect
I'd like to
for
hire
Vision.
him to read me to sleep every night. And number
He's
two,
perfect.
good for you, Paul Bettany. I don't know if it was the plan from the beginning, but dang it if he doesn't deserve this role.
There may be no way to make you trust me.
I remember everyone thought Coulson was going to be Vision.
Speaking of trusting me, just about the best payoff to one of the
Paul
best
Bettany
scenes in the film.
definitely works.
Iron Man's the one he's waiting for.
That's true. He hates you the most.
Even more honesty.
Odds are we'll be riding into heavy fire. And that's what we signed up for. People of Sokovia. We didn't. So our priority.
How can you hate this film, man? It's got all these character moments.
Steel.
Yeah, they really hit that home.
Persistence.
Ultron thinks we're monsters. And we what's wrong with the world. This isn't just about beating him. It's about whether he's right.
These questions that Ultron poses, that they answer as well as they can in this film through trying to protect the civilians. But ultimately, it's been a running theme through this franchise since Iron Man started Iron Manning.
Purge me from your computers. Turn my own flesh against me. It means nothing.
Usually, speech wins go to the good guys, but Ultron's apocalypse speech is about as chilling as they come.
When the dust settles, the only thing living in this world will be metal.
That speech was awesome, man.
The vibranium core's got a magnetic field. That's what's keeping the rock together.
Like I said, we'll miss Jarvis, but Friday's soothing Irish accent is a pleasing replacement.
It threw me off at first, but I'm getting much used to it after hearing it in Civil War as well.
Speaking of speech wins,
Okay, look, the city's flying. We're fighting an army of robots. And I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
recognizing the ridiculousness of the situation and turning it into a motivational speech is what's great about Hawkeye. As was established on the farm, he's the only Avenger in
That's
the
good writing.
world, and therefore grounds the whole scenario for the viewer.
Exactly. That
One-handed
made it
Tamalight.
so good.
Never what? You didn't finish!
Friendly taunting.
Captain America doesn't usually do that. That was
It's teamwork.
different. But it's good when he does it a little bit here and now.
Yes, sir. Black Widow using Cap shield. Yeah, Mom. I'm in another Marvel movie. I know. Well, actually, it is a countdown again. But this time I actually launched stuff.
I'm running out of things to say. Are you
That's a
ready?
win. I wish Thor was more powerful, man, in these
Possibly
films.
hope to stop me.
Like the old man said, together.
That was a
Sometimes
wicked
we
callback.
forget that this is a comic book movie. And then set pieces like this bring us right back as if they've been lifted right from the panels, which some of these actually have been. But man, does it play! No matter how jaded and cynical I become, I pray that I can enjoy sequences like this until the day I die. Because if you never feel that little kid inside you jumping up and down in front of the screen, you're watching movies wrong. There's a word. Squad labor? Crew effort? Company exertion? Oh, who cares? The word is awesome!
Benefit of hindsight.
Also, Hulk. Did Vision just neo that Ultron bot's Trinity? Yeah, he gonna die. I love that Natasha has a connection with both Hulk and Banner. And ironically enough, it's generally the Hulk that's more receptive to her.
It's pretty cool, actually.
You didn't see that coming.
Self-sacrifice callback. And such a powerful payoff sacrifice, too. Quicksilver has been this arrogant, angry kid throughout the movie, mostly looking to get revenge on Stark. Once he sees the helicarrier and realizes, this is S.H.I.E.L.D., something changes in him. On the other side, Hawkeye has pretty much hated him since day one. So Quicksilver laying down his life for the guy who should have died based on every movie trope set up is really stirring.
Look, someone died in the MCU,
This is mine now.
and everyone
fact,
complains, oh, why is Quicksilver dead? And even if he didn't die, no one dies in the MCU. You can't win.
Also saving your new friend. Please be going to Sakaar. Please be going to Sakaar. Oh no. Maybe Asgard? Alright, that's fine.
It's a privilege to be among them.
You're unbearably naive.
Well, I was born yesterday.
The rules have changed. We're dealing with something new.
A little good old-fashioned banter expectation subversion. Are they wrapping up the insane events of this movie with some philosophical waxings? No, they're comparing Vision to an elevator.
But if you put the hammer in an elevator, it would still go up. Elevator's not working.
There's nothing that can't be explained.
See that? Even Thor thinks he'll be able to explain Doctor Strange. Age of Ultron is another case of audience expectations setting a film up for failure. Is it as good as the first one? Probably not. Could anything ever be as good or as cool as the first time that we saw the Avengers assemble? I dare say it can't. And there's such a fine line for filmmakers between giving us more of what we've proven to like while not borrowing too much and straying far enough from the original to keep it fresh and new, but not so far that you upset your core. So often it's either The Empire Strikes Back or Highlander 2: The Quickening. My point is that I don't envy anyone tasked with making a sequel to a smash hit. It's really no wonder directors like Joss and JJ walk away from these franchises. There are some issues for sure, but this movie isn't the failure follow-up everyone touts it to be.
No, it
Now let's
isn't.
talk about this much maligned film. While Ultron is the main antagonist of the film, he's actually less of a villain than the Winter Soldier.
That's not going away anytime soon.
I'm just messing with you. But he's a villain in a similar way to AI villains of the past. If peace is the goal for Earth, as Banner puts it,
The only people threatening the planet would be people.
so protection against aliens is only part of the solution. And Ultron is just a combination of
That's
the
a good
Mind
callback,
Stone and
actually.
Tony's aspirations for,
He's in my time.
as Ultron parrots back. The creator created
I'll have to
theme
watch
comes up
this
a
in a
few
minute.
times, but it's more under the surface. Is Stark actually the villain of this story? Take Captain America, for example. Things are usually pretty black and white for Cap, so when someone asks him,
Ultron can't tell the difference between saving the world and destroying it. Where do you think he gets that?
it really throws him for a loop, which, in combination with Captain America the Winter Soldier, sets up Civil War perfectly. This movie succeeded in so many more ways than it failed. I remember when I saw the first trailer for this film. I turned to my wife and I said, I really wish I could show this movie trailer to my 12-year-old self. He'd lose his mind, and that's the response a lot of this movie got out of me in theaters. Exciting action and fairly evenly spread time with our heroes, bouncing all over the planet, a definite upgrade from the mostly New York City Avengers, fictional Sokovia, South Africa, South Korea. Each location added something new to the unique set pieces, and every location is stunning. Overall, an exquisitely beautiful film that may even surpass the first one in humor.
The last I saw him, an Ultron was sitting on him. Yeah, I'll be missed. Little bastard. I miss him already.
And Hawkeye's
It's
supposed to be
definitely a straightforward
funny,
save the world
funny
plot.
one.
I'm sure there are ways to weave a more complex narrative, but with this many stars, it would be easy to mess it up. Or even worse, for people to think you messed it up, even if you didn't. In the end, Age of Ultron gave us more of what we love and expanded the team and universe in an organic way, with a compelling, albeit likely one-off villain. But compelling. Did I mention that? James Spader was perfect.
And they used it to make a frisbee.
But the entire cast really drew me in. Second Avengers movie in, and the dynamic between our heroes has only gotten better and more fluid since the first. The Hammer scene, as well as the first real disagreement, solidified them as friends, but also real people with individual minds and personal convictions. And I'll say it one more time. I'm also really excited for upcoming solo and ensemble films. The joke is that this movie is just a long advertisement for Cap 3, Thor 3, and Black Panther. But I think people forget that just because someone is engaged in something that sets up the future, doesn't mean that it's not affecting the here and now. Remember when we used to get excited about an expanding, interconnected universe? I still do, and you'll never convince me that this film suffered because of it. Eventually they'll run out of main heroes and we'll finally get some lesser hero solo films. Like a Black Widow rom-com with Banner. No? How about Hawkeye of Green Gables? I'd watch that. Actually, a little spin-off series led by Maria Hill titled How I Met Your Coulson? Who hasn't felt the fire between those two? Just give Colby Smulders more work.
She should have been in Civil War, man. Because she's a main part in the comics. So.
Hope there's no Canada haters out there. But come on, she's a badass.
Steve, you said a bad language word.
You're so cute.
It's a big one.
I'll explain when you're older.
Hawkeye.
Oh, okay.
It's good. I enjoyed this video and I agree with him. Like about 95% of everything he's saying. Maybe even more than that actually. But yeah, look, the thing is, this Cinema Wins, is it something to do with Cinema Sins? Like, I feel like so many people have just stole his format. But I'm hoping, I'm guessing that they know each other and they're working off each other, or I don't know. But it's a great idea and I enjoyed the video. Well done, Cinema Wins. Yeah, I love Age of Ultron. I really actually feel like watching it now. Funny thing is, I watched Civil War last night because I just bought the Blu-ray. I'm tempted to watch Age of Ultron right now after watching this, because I thought there's so many good things, so much good writing in Age of Ultron. It's a shame that people just don't look at it and just think it's bad for some weird reason. Like, I mean, Ultron himself, he's got good philosophical lines and points he's trying to make about how humans are the problem and all that kind of shit. And James Spader's performance was amazing, but like, he needed to be more menacing. They made him a bit sympathetic, like the way he's like, please don't do this, and all this kind of stuff. I like that, but at the same time, he should have almost had like a almost Jekyll and Hyde thing where he's like really nice to Scarlet Witch and all of a sudden he's this evil monster to the rest of the Avengers. Like, but just this evil logical monster rather. Just logical with a sense of humour. And they could have, all they needed to do was just make him seem impossible. Like, they didn't make him seem impossible to beat enough. I think if they had done that, the film would have been loved a hell of a lot more. But anyway, great job, Cinema Wins, good video. And that's my video. If you enjoy this reaction, give us a like, subscribe, leave a comment below, let me know what you guys think. And I'll see you again. Peace.